one of the hallmark characteristics of histrionic personality disorder is sort of a overly dramatic presentation. We call this impressionistic speech. So it tends to be very flowery. It uses a lot of descriptive words like magical, wonderful, and it can go on for quite some time, and yet it really lacks any substance. So at the end, you're left wondering what was just said.
Like when I was around Johnny, I felt like the most beautiful person in the whole world. You know, it made me feel seen, it made me feel like $1 million. Lavish expressions of love and how he had never met a woman like me. Electricity in my body, I felt like butterflies. It felt like, to me at the time, there wasn't any love like that. Unbelievably nice, sensitive, kind, warm, generous, interesting, funny man that I loved.
Hey there, Dr. Wong here, and after a thorough examination over the last few days, I've concluded that Amber Heard is not only a pathological liar, but an absolute turd of a nutcase. Here she is proceeding to give one of the worst courtroom acting performances of all time. And again, just like what Dr. Curry has mentioned, just a lot of yabbering and just lacking so much substance. Now, as a victim of DA and SA, I would assume that it is very traumatizing and difficult to bring up stories and events like this from your past, yet she doesn't seem to have any problem detailing the entire event while also dramatizing and embellishing little details that don't really have any effect in the entire story.
I was just sitting there on this carpet, looking at the dirty carpet, wondering how I wound up on this carpet and why I never noticed that the carpet was so filthy before. I was just looking at the dirty carpet, trying to will myself to get up, realizing there was a phone there, and he picked up the phone and he's screaming. He's rah! And he was just over and over again smashing this phone into the wall, over and over again, screaming at me. And I was watching the phone every single time he pulled his hand back. It was just breaking into pieces. I remember thinking this phone is disappearing. He was smashing it to smithereens, just going into the wall. So scared of my life. It was black. I couldn't see him. My head was bashing against the back of the bar and I couldn't breathe.
Bruh.
You'll notice too that she's always looking out to the jury, like looking left and right. It's almost like a performance and she's trying to tell a sad story.
And after you both returned to...
Lie, we need to set this bitch's pants on fire. You see that? There was a moment where she kind of stopped and posed for the camera. Now that's just an unsettling sight to see. You know how I can tell she's acting, or at least assume that she's acting, is that every time an objection is made, she can go from this super emotional crying state into just such a neutral face. No emotions, like it just snaps. Just like that, just quickly switches off. I haven't even seen her shed a single tear. Like a literal tear, a physical tear. Like, yeah, she's been like huffing and puffing and crying, but like, I haven't seen a single teardrop. What is she even wiping when she wipes her face and nose? I don't...
He's my co-star...
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. Her communications are hearsay.
Tried to say that it was fine.
Objection, hearsay.
I found out that he was in a hotel room with Paul Bettany.
Objection, hearsay.
And your kid's in the car on the street. You
Objection,
need to move
hearsay.
When he finished filming, the plan was to do
Objection,
the
Your Honor,
detox.
hearsay.
I was in such shock and
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Now, the reason why there are so many hearsay objections is because she has no evidence whatsoever. She has to literally rely on her lies and her storytelling and prays that the jury will believe her as the victim. And bruv, if you have been abused the way that you have been describing, now I'm not trying to say you're weak or not tough, but let's be completely real. You are either going to be in the hospital for a long, long time, or there's going to be some visible damage, or you're going to be dead. Like bruh.
He'd shove me back down. He would grab me by the hair or he'd grab me by the arm. Repetitive slaps where he'd hold me in a position and slap me multiple times in a row. I don't know how many times he hit me in the face. My dog stepped on a bee and slammed me up by my neck, and he slaps my face, kicked me In the back. My head was bashing against the back of the bar and I couldn't breathe.
They hit my head on the brick wall. There was an exposed brick wall, punching me with a closed fist, punching me repeatedly.
And let me tell you, there has been plenty more allegations like this in this case. But at the same time, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Not a single witness has come forward and said that they have seen you being abused or seen any physical injuries. No one has seen anything. And whenever there is photographic evidence, it's taken by none other than herself, and it's always days later or a few days later or a week later, you know, and it doesn't seem like it makes sense. If you were a victim, would you not want fresh evidence? Because days later, it could have healed your bruises, your cuts, whatever it is, or you could have fabricated them at that point. Logically, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Amber Amber is absurd, and she's a liar, and the proof is in her testimony. Now remember what Dr. Curry, the psychologist hired to examine Amber, had said? She stated that Amber had borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, and exaggerating claims of PTSD. Now remembering this, let's go over some key moments where I think Amber Heard has lied in general, and also lied to appeal to the jury to make her seem like the victim and make Johnny Depp seem like the abuser. Amber suddenly demanding case be dismissed. Now why would Amber and her team want to dismiss this case, other than the fact that they know that they're going to lose? The evidence is just stacked against them, and Amber's team knows this, and if your team doesn't have faith in you, you've already lost the case. You know, I think at the beginning, Amber's team just believed everything she said. You know, as her legal team, they kind of obliged to, you know, believe everything your client says, but at the same time, she's obliged to tell the truth, right? So she probably would have lied then. And now that all this evidence is kind of coming up, and the lawyers are now realizing that they're not going to win this case, they're kind of like, let's just drop it.
In this matter, there is evidence in the case that a jury could weigh that the statements were made by the defendant, that the statements were about the plaintiff, that the statement was published, that the statement is false, and the defendant made the statement knowing it to be false, or the defendant made it so recklessly as to amount to a willful disregard for the truth. The weight of that evidence is up to the fact finder, so the motion to strike is denied as to statement 2 and 3.
The fact that she didn't write the article, but she did. Now Johnny Depp has to prove that Amber Heard had wrote the op-ed in 2018 with malice intent in order to defame Johnny Depp's career. Now Mr. Roddenborn, one of Amber's lawyers, has tried his best to sway that idea away from the jury, just to have Amber unintentionally mess it up by admitting to the fact that she wrote it.
But I think we're all clear that the sole issue here is whether Amber Heard can be held liable to Mr. Depp for defamation arising from the 2018 op-ed and the 2018 op-ed alone. And to establish that, Mr. Depp has to prove the following elements. He has to prove that the publication of the op-ed and that it was written by Ms. Heard.
I am here because my ex-husband is suing me for an op-ed I wrote.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Now she must have lost a few screws in her head over the many years of her, you know, getting hit in the face and getting her head smashed against walls and this, that, and, you know, it's a pretty stupid move. She probably did lose a few brain cells, but not from DA. Probably from all the drug use, and I'll talk about that a little later on. Didn't abuse Johnny Depp, but clearly did. You know, as this trial goes on and more evidence kind of comes out, I'm starting to believe and think that all the DA and SA claims that she has made, that Johnny has, you know, done upon her, are actually things that she has done to him, and now she's just trying to reverse the roles and change that narrative to make her seem like the victim. You know, there are literal voice recordings of Amber admitting to hitting Johnny, so it's kind of uncomfortable and cringy watching her lie on the stand like that, saying, oh, I've never hit him in our entire relationship. It's like saying I never breathed in this lifetime. Like, come on, Maria, you're lying.
All of my relationship to date with Johnny, I hadn't landed a blow.
Just because I've thrown pots and pans. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start physical fights?
Such a baby!
Because
Grow
you,
the fuck up,
because you start
Johnny.
physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did.
Perfect. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, I fucking sometimes get so mad. I lose.
When you...
The story about the altercation on a staircase involving her sister is being mixed up from a 2016 deposition. Now, some of you guys might remember and also know that the drama between this couple has been going on for many years. In 2016, she had a recorded deposition that was not in front of a jury, so it was in private, not in public, and you can see very clearly how she acted then compared to now. She recounts a story about an altercation with Johnny Depp that involved her sister that just doesn't line up with the way she's describing the story now. You know, just based on her body language and her apathy towards the whole situation, you can tell that firstly, she already knows in her head in that moment that she was gonna win, and secondly, it despicably shows her true evil nature as the aggressor in any relationship, and it's just disgusting. And I can tell that she knew that it wasn't gonna work this time around, especially since it's in a public setting and there's a jury and it's their job to decide whether she's innocent or not, and whether, you know, she actually did defame Johnny's career. And so she had to come with the whole victim approach. And it's sad because it shows that she was never traumatized to begin with, and she's just pretending. And it just spits on the face of true victims of DA. Saying hate is such a strong word. I never really hated or disliked someone to the point where I'm fully against them. But this is probably the first time in a long time where I'm kind of like, I don't know how to feel. I'm just very disgusted in this human being's behavior. It hurts my soul deep down.
15, you punched Johnny Depp in the face with a closed fist.
Johnny was hitting me, and he was hitting me hard and repeatedly, and I was screaming. He makes this motion
and kind of was yanking me down and hit me in the face with this cast he had. I just remember this brief struggle we had before.
about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up.
Whitney, my sister, all of a sudden put herself in between Johnny and I.
I am protective over my baby sister. When he laid hands on her,
See my little sister with her back her back to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her, and I don't even wait.
I don't know what I did, but I know I jumped in between the actions that I saw could lead to a fatal injury to my sister. I don't know what part of my body I put in between me and him, and I would have done anything to prevent her from being pushed down a flight of stairs.
And I swung at him.
Drug addiction and blaming Johnny Depp. I'm also starting to believe that, yes, Johnny Depp did have a problem with alcohol and drugs during his time with her and even maybe before her or whatever. But I think also Amber has a deeper problem with it than he does. Now, Johnny has tried to get sober, and I know and realize that it's no easy task. But my man's went through it, or at least he tried to. He did his absolute best. But not once have I seen or heard Amber even try or attempt to do so. And I think everyone knows, because the evidence is stacked against her. It's very clear, even from witnesses saying that she has somewhat of a drinking and drug problem, just like Johnny had, if not worse. And she lies saying she's against doing drugs like cocaine or MDMA, but she literally has done shrooms, MDMA, all the drugs you're talking about that she hasn't done. It just lacks consistency. I think the alcohol and drug indulgence is finally catching up to her. Like, you can literally see it. Like, during her first day, I think she's somewhat kept her composure, and she's recollecting stories and days of where she had been abused, and she was kind of building Johnny to be this aggressor and abuser, just like from day one, which I think is a tactic in itself. She was just hinting little things that I felt like, A, were just unnecessary because B, they weren't true, I think, or maybe there was some truth to it, but she's kind of making it seem worse than what they were. Like when they were filming the Rum Diaries and she was in his trailer, he lifted her skirt up with his boot and pushed her down onto her bed, his bed, and said, yum.
I'm going back to get back to set, and he kind of picked up the back of my robe with his boot, and I kind of turned around and giggled, batted it away playfully. He kind of playfully kind of pushed me down on this bed sofa that was in his trailer, just playful and flirtatious, and he said, yum. And he kind of lifted up his eyebrows like that.
Okay, let's be completely honest here. As one of the biggest actors on this planet, you could not get away with something like that. If you were any much of a self-respecting woman, you would have spoken up and said something about that, unless you truly enjoyed those kind of acts. Because how awkward is it to experience that and then go back on set to act with the same person that had just done something like that? It just, logically, it sounds like you're insane. I see that she's trying to paint Johnny that even from the beginning, he had this little mischievous nature that's going to lead to all the abuse and stuff. But come on, man, come on. If that was a red flag for you, why did you fall in love with him, huh? Come on. But anyway, back to my point. By day 2, she starts to act quite hysterical and she's very animated, and I think it's either due to heavy drug use or withdrawal of drug use. Now, people all around the world and all around the internet have already pointed out the cocaine in the tissue.
It's still hearsay, Your Honor.
Now, I don't necessarily think that she's doing drugs while in the courtroom, but I definitely think she could be putting something up her nose to just kind of make it, real sniffly, because there's no way she's she didn't even cry. Like, this is movie magic things, okay? If anything, she should have put some clear eyes in her eyes so it looked like she was crying. She also does some very questionable things with her face, more specifically her jaw. She does this face a lot.
Off the picture or on the picture?
This time he was holding a broken bottle. I honestly don't remember.
And if you've ever gone out on a night out with your friends or whatever, and you're at the club, and you go into the club and you see on the dance floor people dancing, and they're like, "What's up, bro? How's it going, man? Yeah, I'm having a mean time, bro." If you know, you know. And I think that she's gone so far to become this famous addict that she needs to defame him and win this case so that she has the money to fuel her vice, which is drugs and alcohol. I'm not saying this is 100% fact, but from my observation, I feel like this is what's happening. Like, why else would you go so far to lie like this? And who in their right mind would do this so publicly and just not feel embarrassed or understand and have any social cues to see that the world is so against you right now? Again, I guess that is narcissistic behavior where she can only think about herself and no one else, which is, it's crazy. Potentially fabricating injuries due to alleged abuse.
And could you describe to the jury what that is?
It was chunks of my hair that Johnny ripped out while dragging me and punching me.
Yes, you see here she claims that this is her hair that Johnny ripped out. First of all, that straight up looks like dog hair. That's way too thick and coarse to really be your actual head hair. Trust me, I know, I've had long hair too. I know what my what a hair looks like, a human hair anyway. That just seems like an impractical amount of hair, because that is a lot of hair that's been ripped out, trust me. And if that's the case, you're gonna have a fat baldy spot. And why are you pointing at it like it just looks so fake? Why is it all bundled up in this one spot? You're telling me Johnny ripped it in a handful of fury and just put it in this one spot here? It just seems too fake. She alleges that she was punched and hair pulled and dragged around, but there's no, damning evidence, damning photographic evidence of the abuse that she's received.
I think this is a couple days later, but yeah.
And also, again, like I said before, the photos were taken days later. What was she thinking? She also said the place could have been cleaned up or whatever, but she also said that there was no one there but him and her. So who would have cleaned it up aside from you or Johnny? And why would you let everything be cleaned up? It's like you're letting the evidence disappear before documenting the evidence.
His assistant or something come on the first day or second day, I can't recall, but for the entirety of what I've been describing to you, it was Johnny and I in that house.
The damage that you saw that third morning,
No.
how were they not accurately depicting?
If you can believe it, this is it seems significantly cleaned up. There was much more damage, specifically broken glass. I don't know when these pictures were taken, but there's been some cleanup.
It's like you don't want to win this case. Her actions just are so illogical. I just don't understand. It's like you're a terrible criminal.
This is my face with a busted lip, which is difficult to see in this picture, but
My 2 black eyes, one is worse than the other. Like I said, maybe a day or 2 later. And my broken nose.
What is the purpose of taking a photo a day or 2 later? If you had just been abused, would you not have taken the photo straight away and been like, yo, this is what happened? Because it's not a clear representation of what had happened if you had already given it time to heal. Firstly, doesn't look like you have a busted lip at all. It looks clear as hell. I don't care how shitty your whatever phone quality you're using, it's clear enough to see that there is no damage to your lip. You just look tired and worn out. You've been crying. Those bruises you could have easily done with makeup. Like, maybe you did get hit in the face though, but that nose is not broken. I've seen what a broken nose look like. All right, that ain't no broken nose.
That's my face. Some time after Johnny beat me up.
This is an even closer photo, and I can't see that much damage to you. Like, you said you had 2 black eyes. You don't have 2 black eyes. All the bruising is located here, right in the center of your nose, which would explain the whole, oh, my nose is broken, but it's not even. It's not broken. Second of all, her makeup artist has already doxed her when she went on the James Corden show. And she was saying, oh, I can't believe I went on there with 2 black eyes. No. Okay, her makeup artist already testified that she did not see any visible injuries. So you're lying. What? It's like she has an instinct to lie. Also, there was no medical records and no actual doctor or nurse that actually saw her when she said that she was concussed. She did a concussion test on phone, which again could have also been a lie as well.
Eventually, she called the nurse Erin. She did a concussion check with Erin on the phone. I thought I probably had a concussion, maybe that night or the next night after Johnny left me on the bed. That's my face after this incident. Well, he busted my lip when he punched me. It's bleeding in this picture. It kept reopening. You know, it's a mouth. The lips move.
I'm sorry, but I just can't believe you. In the previous photos, we couldn't even see the cut on her lip. And now you're saying that, yes, I understand that you know, wounds do seal up and they do open up again, especially when you're using your mouth a lot, but yeah, that just seems like a little bit too much blood, a bit excessive if you ask me. It doesn't make sense that it can go from no blood at all to this amount of blood. Probably the same night or same day because she's wearing the same clothes, but all that bruising around here on her nose and the eyes, they're gone. They're all gone.
This is my lip a few days later.
I can't even see the cut on that close-up of her lip. And once again, this bruising here, all gone. If anything, I just think you need some chapstick, bro.
That's my scalp with a chunk of it missing from when Johnny was tracking me by my hair.
Bruh. You know, we all have that bald spot on our head. You know, you can tell she's never seen the back of her head, and when she got dragged around, she's like, oh my god, you ripped my hair out. And then she had a look and like, took a photo. I'm like, oh my god, Johnny, I'm gonna defame you. You pulled my hair out. You're gonna be known as the hair puller. First of all, the hair that she pulled out was like this long. It doesn't make sense that, you know, it doesn't even look like there's one long strand of hair that he pulled out. Just make it make sense, Amber.
I'm just going to draw your attention, Amber, to an area up here. What, if any, bruising did you sustain in that area?
Objection leading.
What, if any?
I'll sustain the objection.
What, if any, bruising did you sustain?
Same objection.
Sustain the objection.
Did you...
Lady, you got objected to a question, and then you think you could just ask the exact same question about a different area on her head and you wouldn't get objected? Or somebody get these clowns, man.
Just more destruction from a part of the fight that happened in the bedroom.
Wow, that is some damning evidence. That's it, guys. Arrest Johnny Depp. He's look at that broken bottle and charging cable feeding into this green thing with the lemon. Lemon? I don't know. Wow. Damning evidence.
Okay, now please tell the jury about it.
It's downstairs in the main apartment.
Oh my, spilt wine. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh. Get the handcuffs right now, man. Why do you persist to keep up this farce, man? It's just, You're digging yourself so much of a deeper hole than needs to be. Just take the L, move on, right? Yeah, but that's all the time we have today. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you made it this far and you enjoyed the video, maybe consider liking it and also maybe subscribing. And that's been my examination of Amber Heard and why I think she's a pathological liar, and she's just downright insane at this point. But yeah, Dr. Wong out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
What, if any, effort did you make to play a guitar?
I've never played the guitar.
Okay.
Okay.